On the 11th of April 2017, we are here at the National Assembly, shortly after 56 people take oath in office with the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. Mr. Sallah, we congratulate you for taking oath in office shortly after the interview. Mr. Sallah, we have seen you to be very instrumental in defending the fundamental rights and the constitution of this country, and always call for rule of law and justice. What it means to Honorable Sallah to be back in this house?
Well, precisely what you have said is correct. We felt that constitutionality has been compromised in the past, and we should not allow it to be compromised today. We had effected a change that had never happened in the history of this country, where the people brought about change through the ballot box, through their consent. That is democracy. But democracy is not achieved once and for all. Democracy must be built, it must be nurtured. And this is precisely the institution that must nurture democracy. It is the oversight institution. It is the guardian of the Constitution. Because it is here that it could be amended. It is here that it could be defended. And that is why we have sworn to defend it and to ensure that we do not betray the aspirations of our people. And if you look at Section 112 of the Constitution, it affirms that as National Assembly members, we must put conscience and the national interest before personal interest. So I'm here to do precisely that.
And we've seen some lapses and procedure to some of your colleagues. How do you see the competence and the confidence of some of the very MPs that are present here in this house in this afternoon?
Well, I cannot be arrogant at this moment. I must say that, well, experience helps so that we know how to put them through. As you have rightly said, you can see lapses in procedure. Well, it's a collective responsibility. It means that I must intervene more than it is necessary to ensure that we put things right. That is why I'm here.
What do you prioritize most in being in the House at the 2017 conference?
We formed a coalition to put an end to self-perpetuating rule in order to ensure that the fundamental rights of our people are safeguarded. We formed the coalition to give Gambia a new beginning. My role here is to defend that. We must move to the new Gambia. We must move to the Third Republic. We talk about the Third Republic. Republic affirms that sovereignty resides in the people of the Gambia. So Gambia must build a community of citizens equal in sovereignty, irrespective of their ethno-linguistic, their religious, their gender orientation. Everybody in the Gambia must feel that they are owner of the Gambia and must owe that to the Gambia to contribute their quota and must be entitled to gain the benefits of their contribution. This is definitely the time to build that, and I'm in the National Assembly to ensure that we move in that direction, that a Gambia of one Gambia, as we have said, one nation, one people. That is the objective. The pillar of the executive is established. The second pillar of democracy is the National Assembly. And that's why we are here today, starting from the fundamentals, that is to respect the Constitution and the procedures of the National Assembly.
What do you think about this new National Assembly, which is overwhelmed by UDP? Because we say before it wasn't really working because APRC had the total majority, but now it's UDP who is mainly part of the National Assembly. What do you think about it? Is that a good thing or not? And would your voice and the other small party will be heard in this National Assembly?
Well, when you look at parties, they are instruments, obviously, of constituting institutions like the presidency or the National Assembly. But what matters most is the procedure within the National Assembly, the weight, because that will determine the weight of the party. At the moment, I do not see overwhelming weight of the UDP in the National Assembly. They have 31 seats. They cannot impeach a president because you will need 2/3 majority to be able to do that. They cannot amend a constitution because you'll need 3/4 majority to be able to do that. So what they are capable of doing is just passing simple bills. So essentially you have a National Assembly with 22 people on the other side, and if you consider the nominated members, one will have to look at the composition, these 4 members, who they are and what they are capable of doing. Essentially what I see is an institution which is yet to define itself. And that is why from the very beginning we are trying to inject direction and purpose in it. It all depends how the other members respond. We are going to do that, and it's too early to say that the other members will behave like robots. This is what we said they should not behave like. And we are out to ensure that those who behave like that, well, they'll be in the public space, because this is a National Assembly which can no longer be an indoor affair. We are going to insist that the GRTS fulfills its responsibility of ensuring that the people are informed, because the media is to hold government accountable to the people, and there can be no accountability until the people really know what is really being done in their interest. So we believe that that is going to push many National Assembly members to begin to perform. Otherwise, well, they'll be totally discredited. There are people in the National Assembly who intends to make it a new center to ensure that there is accountability and transparency. I think that's an advantage. And with a media that is now much freer, then the views, the values, the ideas will be clearly in the public space. I think that is the difference. The difference before is that, yes, you had people struggling within the National Assembly to shape it, but who would know? Because the media was gagged. But now that we are talking about a new era, and we're going to continue to fight for that media to hold government accountable to the people. And the principal ally of the media is the National Assembly, because here is the domain of the people. Here is where people should come to speak about the people's challenges and problems. That is what they're elected to do. So I believe that with that new partnership, it will be very difficult to betray the aspirations of the people without cost. And I don't think anybody would want to shoulder the cost of betraying the aspirations of the people.
So it's a big day.
It is indeed a big day.
What are some of the reforms that you think the National Assembly should do for it to efficiently deliver on its mandate?
Well, as you can see, the whole process of revising the standing orders will begin to strengthen it. You can see right here the shortcomings of the standing orders in promoting the democratic upbringing of the National Assembly. But fundamentally, we must put an end to self-perpetuating rule. The problem of the past is the problem of self-perpetuating rulers. So constitutionally, we must address the problem, meaning constitutional reforms to ensure a term limit being established, to ensure the second round of voting so that nobody can be president of the Gambia without absolute majority. We must ensure the security of the Independent Electoral Commission. We must ensure the security of the judiciary. We must make sure that the media is freed from all those laws that gagged it from holding government accountable to the people, and introducing a public space where there is maximum debate to enable the people to have the capacity to make informed choices in electing their leaders. I believe that this type of agenda that I've just mentioned, which will be enlarged, would be the key agenda. Of course, we are dealing with the issue of the survival of the people, because we cannot only talk about good governance. The essence of good governance is to be able to get the people, to be served. So public service will be fundamental. The quality of public service, health, education, other services, infrastructure, electricity, all this, the quality of our services would definitely be focused on, because without that, investments will be undermined. So we'll be working with the existing executive to look at its priorities, challenge it, to reprioritize if necessary, and get it to have the right priorities. As you can see, the problem of the youth. I'm sure that they are going to be talking a lot about that, even in the nominated members in the parliament itself. what constitutes the youth representation. These are issues, of course, that will be unfolding because the youth element becomes fundamental because they constitute the majority in the population. So, yeah.
Yeah, and finally, in terms of the talking of which the public service, the quality of the public service, in terms of the relationship between the three arms of government. Here in the Gambia, we do not have a situation in which when ministers are picked, they do not go any parliamentary approval. When judges are appointed, they do not undergo any parliamentary approval.
Well, I can see, you've seen, you've put the nail on the head, hit the nail on the head. These are all reforms that needs to be looked into. Of course, those do not constitute part of the manifesto of the coalition because it is a short-term program, but essentially many of our parties, including my own, see that element to be most significant, the element of parliamentary oversight of executive decisions, because it helps. Once you interrogate those who are coming to serve the public, well, obviously, you'll be able to look at their qualities. And what the Constitution says is very clear, that ministers must be people with the professional capacity and experience to be able to deliver. So those two indicators must be gauged, which means who vets whether the minister has the professional capacity and qualification, experience. So it means then, with a National Assembly looking into the appointees, obviously you'll be able to determine those qualities and you'll be able to advise the executive to make the right decisions. That will be important.
Finally,